Hello guys. So in this video we are going to talk about timeouts. You must be wondering what is that? I mean, you might never faced it, because it was all given to you. I mean, in when you when it comes to Go and PG and the driver, right, it is also given to you. It's just that I'm saying that how to customize it, so you can customize it when you connect to the database. Okay, remember the first video where we started connecting to the database? Yes. So in the connect method, right, I'm here in the connect method, we have a pg.options struct, right? Yes. So if you hover over that, you will see so many parameters, right? So we are going to talk about some of those parameters today which are important. So first thing I'm going to talk about is dial timeout. Okay, so dial timeout is duration, so you can just set time dot time dot duration 1. You don't need to do that. Actually, you can easily do something like, let's just set dial timeout is 30 into time dot second. Okay, so what happens right now is, what is dial timeout? First of all, let me tell you. So whenever you are trying to connect to the Postgres database, right, it shouldn't be like trying to connect to the database infinitely, right? You want some time to time out. For example, if it doesn't connect in 30 seconds, you just want to return that particular function and throw some error, so you will get to know that what is happening. It's timing out, means there is something wrong from the PG side. So 30 seconds is again still a little bit high, but I'm just saying for the sake of giving an options or examples, right? So this is how you set dial timeout. Okay, see, there is no need to do tests and everything, because most probably you won't be getting it, because setting making timeout is kind of like hard, in the sense that practically it rarely occurs, but when it occurs, you are gonna get screwed, I guess. I didn't know how to put it delicately. So the other kind of timeout that we are going to talk about is read timeout. So whenever you are running the read queries, right, all the select queries and everything, you might want to put 1 minute as a timeout, because you don't want your query to be running like infinitely, right? Because that's a lag, that's a connection is already occupied. You don't want to do that unless you are you get the cursor and you are like doing some infinite looping or something. But that is again a wrong way of doing programming. Your read timeout should never be 1 minute. It should be 30 seconds or 15 seconds. I'm just setting just to let you know, this is like the max timeout you should set. Another one is write timeout. Okay, so whenever you're writing the query, now why read timeout? Okay, write timeout, I'll tell you. Just for the example, I'm just going to put 1 minute. Okay, now why this read write timeout? Well, whenever you run a query, right, Postgres is actually doing a lot of processing, and for example, by mistake you run some sort of query without limitation. For example, if you're running a query where in the database you have, for example, 100,000 products, right, and you're running a query and you are just forgot to get the limit 10, and you are literally trying to fetch all the items. I mean, that's like a big deal. It might take a while, because transferring a lot of data here and there, at the time your query can time out, if it's 30 seconds. So you can actually visit the query and check out that particular mistake, and if possible you find and you can repair that mistake. So for that things you need to do that. And even if that is not the scenario, right, you really shouldn't run any query on your PG more than 30 seconds. That's a really added load over PG, Postgres itself. So other we are going to talk about is ideal timeout. Okay, I mean, this kind of thing you don't set that much. You can put it like 30 minutes. Now what is ideal timeout is, ideal timeout is, for example, if you are doing if you created a backend, right, and now your a driver is actually have access to 100 connections. You created a pool of 100 connections, right? And all the connections are active. Now you don't get any query or any request from your client for 30 minutes. So you don't want to keep going with those connections, right? You actually want to minimize those connections. So this is called ideal timeout. This is really useful for controlling how many sockets are getting connected, and when your sockets getting closed down in terms of low load. So this is really good. If you want to set it out, don't set it 30 minutes, just set it like somewhat like 2 minutes, 5 minutes or something. Okay, other thing we are going to talk about is max edge. Okay, that's again time duration. Oh, sorry, time dot. So max edge is related to ideal timeout. It again say how the maximum age of your connection. So it's kind of like that before you do the ping. So what max edge will tell you that if and anything, nothing happens for like 1 minute, just do the ping request to the Postgres, just to let Postgres know that we are still here, and we are active. So otherwise Postgres will think, if the connection is idle for long, right, then Postgres will think that okay, there is nothing happening, I should close down this resource. So Postgres itself will close down the connection. So that not to happen, you need to have max edge. And another last setting I would say is a pool size 20. Okay, now what is pool size? Pool size is max number of connection per CPU. Remember that. So by default the driver will try to balance it out, a number of connection per CPU, which is 10 by default. That should be more than enough. But if you think that you will be working on really highly concurrent environment, when you will be getting thousands of requests for doing the queries and everything, right, at that time you might want to set this pool size to little bit higher than 10. Okay, and remember this is like per CPU. So if you're dual core server, right, then it's going to be 20 connection, 10 to 10. So if you want to increase down to, I don't know, like 100, then you have to set pool size 50. So per CPU pool size is going to be like 50. So it should work like that. It does work like that. Sorry for that. So these are all the possible options that you should set in order to constrain your resources. Remember, for example, if you have really high-end Postgres server, like some big machine, then these numbers does not matter that much, because you already have a lot of resources. But I'm pretty sure in most of all the case scenarios, right, we won't have that much resources, unless you are in Facebook or maybe working in Google or something like that. So you will have like some small medium size Postgres, to handle very high amount of load. So at that time you might want to set all these options to make sure that everything stays in a working condition. For example, if you even put some big query, or you set a bug or something, right, everything should not fall down. So for that you need to set all these options, and keep track of all the options from the Postgres side to just make sure that everything is working fine. So this was all, guys, about how to set different kinds of timeout and pool size and everything. So this was it, I guess. Just remember, you need to do this. Okay, whenever you are doing, just please make sure you add dial timeout, read timeout, write timeout, ideal timeout. That is okay, because systematically it will set as ideal, so we don't need to, and it doesn't affect the performance. It is useful when you literally not getting any requests, so it's good. And max edge is again something like that. So these two can be optional, and pool size you need to set, guys, because otherwise your driver is going to keep opening the connections, or in the case of really high load, right, your driver won't know what to do, and it'll just play around with the max connection, which is 10, and you will be a lot of requests will be getting stuck. Thank you very much, guys, for just going through this. Okay, I'll see you in the next tutorial.